Hello and welcome. Today we are going to be doing some sumo deadlifts and I'll be using a kettlebell. Without any further ado, let's get right into it. Sumo deadlifts are one of my favorite movements and deadlifts in general to increase the strength and mobility on our posterior chain, our back, our hamstrings, and our glutes. And that's what we're going to be going over today because this is one of those that can be a staple foundational compound movement in your strength training routine. I'm using a kettlebell. If you don't have access to a kettlebell, we can also use dumbbells, and of course we can do this with a barbell too. Some things you might want to consider though are height. So this kettlebell is a little bit higher off the ground. If I were using dumbbells, they would be a little bit lower to the ground. So as you start to do these, if you notice it feels kind of low or it's hard to get good form, I suggest elevating your weights on a platform or even a step bench, something like that, because that will make the range of motion and the setup feel much easier. If you have a kettlebell, this is how we're going to set up. So feet are going to come nice and wide. I want your toes to turn out a bit. And we're thinking about setting up with our midfoot in line with the bell. So arches should be in line with that handle of the kettlebell. From there, we're going to think about sending your butt back behind you. This would be a good time to check out this video if you haven't seen it already on how to hip hinge, because that's what we're doing here. We're going to send that butt back. And then I want you to grab the kettlebell any way that feels the best with your hands. And then while we're in that bottom position, we're thinking about opening the chest. And I tell my clients it's like we're pushing our chest up to an imaginary window in front of them, so it looks like you have really good posture here through the upper body and the shoulders. From there, gaze starts down on the floor. We're going to take a big inhale. Think about expanding, bracing your core with a big in-breath. Drive into your feet, stand up nice and tall. We hit full extension at the top. And then exhale, finding that position again on the ground. Each time we're taking a rep here, you want to think about resetting that form, opening the chest, big inhale, bracing the core, and then exhale, coming down. One more just like that. Big inhale, breathe, expand. You're thinking about driving those knees out. And then as we stand up, you're thinking about spreading the floor apart with your feet. So we're activating your glutes, the sides of your glutes, your hamstrings, your back, but the feet connection with the floor helps really turn on through the hip. And bell midfoot, the width of your feet is going to, how wide you want to go is going to be dependent on what your hip mobility looks like. So it shouldn't feel like a really big stretch for your hips to be in the position, so that's how you're going to kind of find, and you can do some trial and error here, which works best for you. And then we're sending that butt back, and I want to stop, so this isn't a squat. If I were squatting, I would be a little bit more, I would bend my knees a bit more. We're at the height where you're just feeling the glutes turn on, and I'm not feeling as much quad engagement. We're in a hip hinge or hip extension. From here, big inhale, expand, come all the way up, exhale, lower down. Each time, resetting the form, because this is one of those movements we want to practice really good form, because you hear all that crap about how deadlifts aren't good for you. They are amazing. We're always going to have to be able to pick things off the floor for the rest of our lives. We just have to perform them correctly, and they can be a really safe way to practice that. So you've been working on this one, and the weights are feeling a little bit easy. We can also do this same movement with a kettlebell one-sided. So I'm going to show you a suitcase deadlift. This is a harder variation, challenges the core a bit more, and it can make, if you only have one kettlebell, pretty heavy. So for this guy, we're going to set up with the kettlebell or a dumbbell next to us, and we're going to find a stance with the feet hip width apart. From there, same thing as that first one. You're sending your butt back, except now we're going to grab that kettlebell on your side. Same thing, big inhale, open the chest. You might feel like it's really easy for that chest to kind of fall forward, so that's where I would elevate this guy on a step, on a block, something like that. And then again, we'll take that big inhale, drive into the feet. Think about driving those knees out, spreading the floor, and then exhale, we'll bring it back down. So big inhale, open chest. Knees out, spread the floor with your feet, stand all the way up. And then for this one, after we've done one side, we're going to want to repeat. Do that same thing other side. Big inhale, stand all the way up. And I'll let you see how this one looks like from the side as well. So again, anytime we're using and deadlifting, that kettlebell is in line with our midfoot. We take that big inhale, we drive into the legs, stand up nice and tall. And what muscles we want to feel here while we're doing these, big one, hamstrings and glutes. Your first set or two, you might feel some stuff in the quads as well. And then we could be feeling the core engage really good. And you can also feel the muscles underneath your armpits or your lats. So that's what's all engaging here. If you're feeling a lot of sensation in your lower back, it can mean your form is off. Also, if you're feeling a lot of it through your quads and not much else, it means we're probably bending our knees a little bit too much and creating a squat out of this movement. So, any questions about your form and how this one feels, go ahead and pop those in the comments and subscribe for more.